Hey guys, welcome to the All Sports Pass Podcast North. My name is Eli. I'm your host, and welcome back to another video. And you already know it's my favorite day, one of my favorite days of the week. It's Winner Pick Wednesday. And now, of course, I assume most of y'all are probably watching this on Thursday because I was busy today, so I unfortunately wasn't able to record this earlier. But hey, it is what it is. But before we get in this video, you already know we got to start off with the verse of the day. And today's verse comes from Ephesians 1:19, and it says, "And you will know God's great power. It can't be compared with anything else. His power works for us who believe. It is the same mighty strength." All right. And without further ado, leave a like, subscribe for more high school football content. And without further ado, let's begin. So week 4 saw a lot of action. Of course, we get to see some region matchups, of course. So I'm going to take you in with this. And yeah. So Central at Ottawa. And I will say this, that for me, this was an expected outcome. Central was able to move the ball both offensively and defensively. So really, it was a really dominating win for Central. And now, of course, this is a non-region game, so it doesn't matter. But I think it gives Central confidence heading in to the next week, which is against West, and I believe that is a region game. Sorry, here's the thing, guys. I'm just saying because I don't think I'm going to be covering Central this week. And if I said the next week, sorry, it's this week. Keep in mind, this is the review and the game preview. Central is in a region with West, so yeah. And in this region, of course, Powell's 1-0, which we'll talk about here in a minute. And West also, since West has the home game on this for this week, Central will not be covered on the channel this week. So just FYI, I'll leave a link in the description to the West channel down below. But overall, I think this is a good place for Central. Now for Central, they're 2-2 on the season. So let's see what happens here in the next couple weeks. All right, and then honestly, I'm going to be honest. I honestly think that I did not expect much from this game here. Now, this is a region game, but let me tell you this. Anderson County was up 14-0 up until the second quarter when Fulton started cutting into the lead. And they were only heading into halftime, Anderson County was only up 14-13 over Fulton. And then Fulton was able to keep it close all game up until like the fourth quarter, really. And unfortunately, it didn't go Fulton's way. But I will say this, that Fulton, I think, is starting to figure things out a little bit now. Of course, this was a loss, but we'll get to see what they learned from this loss heading into this week, and we'll see how they can, use this loss to their advantage. Now, for Anderson County, of course, they're now 1-0 in the district, and I do think that Anderson County is still going to be a tough team to beat, but however, I'm really impressed by Fulton by being able to keep it close most of the game. So that's really my thoughts on it. And Austin East to Gatlinburg Pittman. And I will say this, that I'm going to be honest, I did not expect this score from Gatlinburg Pittman because you see, like Austin East, I really thought that Austin East, wouldn't have really, been able to hold them, considering the fact, since GP was at home. But I will say this, that they were so far able to stay with them this game, and they were even able to get a touchdown. But however, Austin East is a school that decides to go for the two-pointer after every touchdown. But I will, which for those who don't know, basically you have the choice of kicking an extra point, which is, of course, and it's different from a field goal, pretty much, because a field goal, you kick on fourth down if you're in range, and if you don't get the touchdown. So you can also go for it on fourth down, but however, most teams would go for the field goal, which is, of course, normally 3 points. But however, if you get a touchdown, you can decide to go for a 2-point conversion by getting into the end zone, with your offense out there, or you can even do a little fake on the kick. You could, end up having the kick holder try to pass it for a 2 point conversion, or you can have the holder try to run it in the end zone for 2 points, or you can just keep the offense on the field trying to get a 2 point conversion, and so really, I will say that I did not expect Gallenberg Pittman to be held to 24 points at home. Now, of course, it's still a win's a win, but I'm really kind of shocked that they were only able to put up 24 on Austin East. Now, I'm not saying Austin East is a bad team. And it's high school football. Anything can happen. But, however, I just think that Austin East is still rebuilding a little bit. But, hey, we'll still see what they can do. And, yeah. All right, and then we have Carter versus South Dual. And let me tell you this, that this outcome for me personally was expected. Now, Carter did good moving the ball up the field. And I honestly think that being able to move the ball up the field and have great defense, and even putting 52 points. Now, of course, South Dual is a bit they're still struggling, and of course, and I know I've said in other videos, but South Dual has really surprised me because I remember them being able to make the playoffs every year, and they've only gone 2-8 the last 2 seasons. Now, I do think that they're going to win a game, which might be against Seymour. Now Seymour is potentially, and we're going to talk about that here in a sec. But however, I don't know now because yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see. So now I think, unless South Dual can pull some upsets, I think it's still going to be a long season for them. Yeah. But for Carter, it's a good win, and this is also a region game, just FYI. This is a region game. Oh, and I got to tell you, this here, now, both teams are 3A, but this is a non-region game. So just thought I'd put that out there. So now Carter's now 1-0 in the region. So, yeah. All right, then we have Powell at Heritage, and this is a region game. And Powell won 38-0 over Heritage. And let me tell you this, that I also expected it because I really think that Heritage, from what I've been seeing now, of course, they did have that big win on Rivalry Thursday over William Blount. But I will say this, that, I really think that with the team that Powell is, I really think that, Powell is just going to run through them. That's just what I think was going to happen. But hey, there's still some games left. Heritage can still make the playoffs. This is only one region game. So if they can beat, now I think it's a 16. Sorry guys. Here, keep my. I rarely cover 5A. So just give me a second. I'm sorry. No, it's a 5-school region. So really, one team's going to be out. So they really just have to beat one team to get in the playoffs. So that's really how it works. Now, of course, I do think Heritage could potentially win, but it's going to depend on, because if you see the strength in this region, there's Powell, Heritage, Halls, Central, and West, and some of these schools are powerhouses. Now, West is 2-2, so it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. But however, Heritage came close to beating Central last season. But let me tell you this, anything can happen. Yeah, now, Powell's 1-0 in the region, and Heritage is 0-1 in the region. But, yeah. All right, here we go. Game of the week, Seymour at Gibbs. But before we talk about this, every Gibbs segment is sponsored. And I want to say thank you to our sponsors, which is PJ's Barbershop. And they're located on 3544 Neal Drive, Suite 101, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37918. Call Pam at 865-548-0749 to schedule an appointment, or call Jackie at 865-243-5291 to schedule an appointment. And there's also Sierra Lynn Photography. If you want to schedule a session for a photo shoot, DM Sierra on Instagram at either of these accounts. And here, right here, Sierra_343 or SierraLynn.photos on Instagram. Schedule a session. I'm going to leave this highlighted a little bit, just so you can type it in, write it down, whatever. And yeah. Okay. Thank you to our sponsors, and also if you all are still trying to write that down, I'm going to leave it up here for just a minute. But thank you both for your continued support, and yeah. All right, so Seymour at Gibbs, and I will say this, that Seymour actually ended up, they were coming into this game 0-3, and they were able to put 2 scores on Gibbs, and they were up by a score of 14-7. But however, 2 of those scores were caused by errors, and now, of course, one of the errors I want to talk about is, of course, misinterpreted kickoff by the Gibbs receiving. And I will say this, that the ball just kept on moving around and just didn't. And unfortunately, they weren't able to pick it up. So Seymour was able to recover in the end zone, and I gave Seymour a touchdown. And yeah. Now, but however, it still didn't really matter because Gibbs was able to find their rhythm, and they were able to pull away with a 58-28 win. And also, this is a region game, and now Gibbs is 1-0 in the region. So yeah, but however, I do think that for Gibbs, that I really think the defense was pretty good, and I also think the offense was pretty good. Of course, once we got into the later stages of the game, but I do think that for Gibbs, I really think that they're going to have, of course, they're heading to another region game next week, which is actually going to be featured on the West Channel. They're going to be playing South Dual, and that is a win for Gibbs. However, I do think that if you want to try to get a pretty high position in your region, I really think that for Gibbs that it's going to depend on the execution that can determine for the next few games. So yeah. And all right, there it is. And here's some other scores that are not covered by All Sports Pass podcast. Alcoa won 34-13 over Greenville. Oneida won 6-0 over Wartburg Central. Coalfield won 35-0 on Midway. Kingston won 41-12 over Union County, and that's a region game. And we also have Cherokee losing to Elizabethton by a score of 41-13. That's a region game. And also, guys, some of these guys I don't really cover, so that's why I don't really know these regions. But I will say the ones I know. And then there's Northview Academy 46 over Volunteer 38. And then we have Harriman 41 over Greenback, 41-0 over Greenback. And then Campbell County, and then Clinton 29-7 over Campbell County. All right, and okay, so here we go for Week 5, and I'm so sorry I forgot to make a slide for it. But here's Powell and Clinton, and I will say this, that I really think that this game could be a toss-up because, both these teams are pretty good in my opinion. Now, Clinton, I'm going to have to pull up real quick because I forgot to pull them up. Now, I do think that Clinton is still a bit, now do I think that Clinton can win? I would say so, but against a team like Powell, it's gonna depend on what happens. But now, of course, Clinton actually went 1-0 in the region with their win over Campbell County. But I actually think that it's going to determine. This is going to determine. I really think that it's good. Sorry, I actually think Clinton could possibly win. But, however, I think that Powell might be the team to do it. So, I really think that Powell's going to win this one. That's what I'm going to do. All right, and we have a non-region game, Fulton at GP. And I will say this, that I would say that Fulton, I think, would not really get by GP, by a pretty, it would not be a pretty game for Fulton. But, however, I will say this, that GP only putting 24 on Austin East. And also because Fulton is, also because Fulton was able to keep it close with Anderson County, this could be a toss-up, in my opinion. Now, it might be with GP winning, but, hey, if Fulton might have found their rhythm, Now, if they find their rhythm, this could be a win for Fulton, but it's going to be interesting. But I think it might be GP winning. But yeah, so I'm going to be honest that I really don't know who's going to win this. But I think it's likely going to be GP. But hey, it's going to be interesting what Fulton can do. All right, now I got Anderson County at Seymour. And I will say this, that Seymour, their offense is pretty decent in my opinion, and their defense is pretty decent in my opinion. But I just think this, that the Mavericks have been storming down the field, of course, with quarterback Landon Hensley and running back Waylon LaRue. I really think that, that AC is going to pretty much storm their way to victory. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, then we got another region game. We got Austin East at Alcoa, and I will say this, that I hate to say it, but I got Alcoa winning this one because Alcoa dethroned one of the top 4A schools in the state, and in Greenville, and I really think that Alcoa, they're going for a 10-time repeat of the 3A state championship, and so I do think that Alcoa is going to win this one. So yeah, I'm going to give this one to Alcoa. All right, here we go. Week 5 game of the week, Carter at Halls. And this game's actually on Rivalry Thursday, so I will actually be able to watch this. And I actually think that this could be a good game because Halls, in my opinion, they don't really seem to be as strong as I thought they would be. But Carter, however, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do. Now, I really don't know what kind of game plan both these teams are using. Now, what I mean by Halls not being strong is because, I'm not saying that they're bad or anything. I'm just saying that, that compared to last season when they had the offensive line, those guys were tough to get around. But with all those guys graduated, it looks like their line is a little bit weaker. But however, I do think that for Halls, it's going to depend on, what's going to happen. And same for Carter. So here's what I'm going to do. This game, it's a toss-up. I don't know who's going to win this. So we're going to see what happens. So, yeah. And, all right, it's going to end the video tonight. If y'all like this video, give it a like, subscribe for more high school football content. And also, guys, keep in mind, these are my predictions. These are what I think is going to happen. And also, if y'all want to support local high school teams, why not go to a game? They're really fun. And, the fact that, you get to see these kids play because, for some of these guys, this is the only time they'll be able to play football because after their last game for some of these guys, they won't be able to put on shoulder pads or a helmet again, and so they'll move on with life. And so if you want to support them while you can, I recommend going to a game. And yeah, so peace out, God bless, and good night.